All right, this is another battlefield overview, battlefield briefing, whatever we want to call it. We are on Hill's Counterattack. So historically, this is very, very late stage uh, Battle of Antietam, Battle of Sharpsburg, whatever you want to call it. It's not unique in that there's nothing like it, but it's an interesting map. So we start out here. The CSA is attacking. It is one of those where only the attackers have artillery, quite a fair amount. And it doesn't need that much manhandling to make it useful. Point, well, you can see it's across, well, yeah, there's a fence. And there may probably be some friendlies in the way. But point is, it's out in a mostly open field. And so you would think that artillery is really important on this, and it can be. Maybe I'll try to not talk about artillery until the end. Instead, just talk about general lanes of attack and some thoughts about defense. So, as a CSA, I guess there are two, maybe three ways you can look at this, or at least lanes of attack. We'll think of it this way. The first is, I know that this is really crazy, you can go far left. Sometimes the Union, which can come all the way up here, will actually try to come up here and defend these fences. It's always a terrible idea. And the Union always loses on tickets and on time. They bleed way too many tickets in a short amount of time for that, even if they maybe ended up a little bit ahead, and they never really do. It's a long way to run, right? If you have to pull back from the CSA, who are, main spawn is there, never mind all the flags are here, and you have to pull back through that open, you're getting shot in the back, you're maybe losing flags. But the same is then true for the CSA if they're when they're able to clear this set of fence, the fence here, at this juncture. The CSA can push up. They can't push too far wide. Yeah, before you start timing out, that actually is correct. You can push up hugging this fence. You can use some of the shrubs, and you can push up a long way. Okay, a long way towards the Union. We are looking at. This is, I think it's this first hill here that is the Union spawn. I believe it's this hill, yeah. And so the CSA can push up a long way on this front. I found that, I think to get here they have to time out. So I don't know if this is another one of those, the spectator cam is not accurately showing what the attackers can do, but I think that the CSA times out right before they get here. They might be able to hop over for a short visit, but not for a long one. And usually the Union, if they know what they're doing, they can go out a little ways here, and then they can take a knee in that fence, and they will be very hard to hit until the CSA show themselves, and then the Union can shoot them. But anyways, that is, let's get our cardinal. That is our kind of west-northwest avenue of attack. Going back to CSA spawn, that was the left side attack. You can also try the right side attack, which I find is almost always useless. It's useful if you end up overwhelming the defenders that are here. If the defenders guess wrong or fail to communicate and coordinate, and they don't have enough here, you can wipe a lot of defenders' tickets. But I think where numbers are pretty even trying to use fire in advance, it's very difficult to do in practice. The Union can hang out back in this corn. They can use the fences so they can get cover. They can get concealment. And frankly, at this point, they're much closer to their spawn than you are. And they're probably much closer to their friendlies who can come if they want to send an extra company through the corn there. Or the Union can always just bail on a bad fight. And then as a CSA, what you're left with is, well, you get to sit out in this corner, and you could try to lob volleys, and again, you can try to do that, but if the Union's behaving themselves and they're not dying out of line, it's going to take a long time to peel off enough tickets through those long-range volleys. And if the Union know where the weak spots are, like for example, they know you're over in that corner and they're just worried about that, they can just get into the fence here. You can't see them, and you're just wasting time. As the defender, you're happy to waste time. As the attacker, you really don't want to do that. So that's the far, well, if we did the west-northwest, that must be the eastern push. The other push frequently begins with taking that juncture that you would use for the left side push as the CSA, and then pushing down on one side of the fence or the other. This point here is a nice one to hold for the CSA because you get the hard cover of the hill in front of you. And if the defenders want to come and get shots at you, they usually have to trade maybe soft cover or no cover for soft cover or hard cover on your end, and that's a very good trade as the attacker if you can get the defenders to take less good cover. There are some iconic points on this map. There is the so we have our cap point there. There is a so-called cap bush. You'll know it. Look, when you hit T and it says capturing or defending, you'll know that you are in it. You got some rocks out here, but it's not a lot of rocks. And these hay bales are surprisingly resilient to a lot of things. If you are going to take a knee, try it sometime. Try it with a friend. You know, go 100 yards away, take a knee, exchange shots at each other. It's not the easiest thing in the world to shoot someone. And then the way that this road kind of dips, it can be hard to get close shots for the defenders. They can try it from the corn. They can try it from that hill, but they really got to be point on with those shots. And what the CSA may do, again, I would say that this is another one, like so many of the other maps I've done, I've seen this played cap recap a lot, and probably more often than not. And if the defenders are prudent, if they're disciplined and they're not giving up a lot of out of lines, I think the attackers almost always have to play cap recap. And that usually just involves rushing the point, capping it, and then trying to slaughter the Union as they take it back. Sometimes in advance of that cap, what you'll see the CSA do is they will push a large force up here, because what they don't want, what both sides, I guess tacitly agree to, is that holding this high ground is a great place to control who is holding the cap, right? And so a lot of times when the Union have to push to counter or to recap this, to retake this position, usually the first thing they want to do is clear any CSA who are up here. And then once they clear that, they will push down. The Union may also come out of the corn, right? They may wait in the corn and then either use that back fence because it dips a little bit, and then they can use the hay bales to obscure some of the shots that the CSA might have. Whoa! Might obscure some of those shots. I don't know. I find that generally the Union push from that direction, even if we get down to almost what is man height, you can see it's just so easy to shoot almost anybody. Yeah, the fence is the fence. Coming up through the high ground there's some concealment, there's some cover, and it's just a closer line. You might get off one volley, you may not. So my advice to the CSA, and nobody's going to listen, but this is the advice. If you have a company, or heck, a whole regiment that is up here, and you're holding this position and you've capped point, you should expect whatever the number of companies you have plus one, if the Union knows what they're doing, to charge this point. And they're going to try to wipe you. Your instinct is to fight. The smart thing to do is know that they have to wipe you. And what you should do is run away. And then they have a choice. They can continue to pursue you fruitlessly. And by the way, if they pursue you too far, at a certain point, the group that's on cap, your friendlies on cap, can turn around and come and get them in the back while you turn around and shoot them as they come towards you. You can sandwich them and wipe their flags and then have everybody push back to point. It's not that far to see it. And at this point, the numbers advantage should be entirely yours. And if the Union doesn't take the bait and keep pursuing you, then you pursue into the Union's backside. But this is true of defenders in cap recap. What the defenders want is they want a quick, overwhelming, decisive victory in melee, so that they can then concentrate everybody that's left on their side against what is now a severely weakened force that is left holding the cap. So if you could coordinate that, or if you know that, and you're holding this ground, I would say my recommendation as the Union is to flee from that fight. Even if it's 50-50, you don't have to win this fight. Don't take a 50-50 fight. You don't have to. You're in control. The defenders have to do something to you. So anyways, that's my bit of advice. If the Union decides to full push from the corn, all you gotta do is hop out of the corn. You're not far from cap, and you can shoot. as a general principle, if you can be shooting or running, you want to be shooting. It's a shooting game. And I think a lot of infantry officers in pubs and elsewhere would be interested to find out that those pointy sticks you carry actually do shoot bullets, and it's quite useful. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. Now, I said I would save artillery for the end, and I will. And I can tell you from lots of failure here about what not to do as CSARD. Do not dump even too much of your ammo early, because if the defenders, again, are good, you don't have to worry about bad defenders. Right? Against bad defenders, do whatever you want. But it's really about the good ones you got to worry about. If you dump a lot of shots, and they're great shots, and you're getting red mist, and it's actually, half the company, not just one guy, you're going to get really far ahead in tickets. And then Union's going to pull back, and they're going to make you cap, and then they're going to push to recap, doing some of the things I just talked about. If they successfully recap, and they go up to now whatever your ticket stage is, they have effectively nullified all of that great shooting you just did. Hey, you could expend 3/4 of a caisson getting them deep into taking losses while you're high and engaged, and there's 17 minutes left, and you think, surely this is great, but they're otherwise able to avoid going breaking. They force you to cap early, and then they're going to come back maybe high and taking losses, low and engaged, because they got all your tickets back. It's as if they juked all those shots that you hit them with. I think it's better to kind of know where some of the stronger shots are and to coordinate things. So the 2-gun battery that's up here, if wheeled up closer to the fence, has excellent shots at any Union group that's trying to hold, as the CSA is looking at it, the right corner, or the corn corner that's on that side of the battlefield. You can, if you're willing to invest the time, I can't really recommend it. You can either destroy the fence, you can roll guns up to here if you want to use canister in the late game so that those rounds actually have meaning. You could do that with the guns from either. I think in general, getting these guns up maybe a little bit higher, a little bit closer to the fence, and the further right you go, and you can get guns over here, and when you do, know that you will bait the Union to charge you. They can't Grand Theft cannon them, they don't have artillery of their own, but if you are here, and you can do this from elsewhere, you can get to the Union. One of their at least olden time favorite forts is the juncture that is right back here, and where the Union, when they have to make the attackers cap for whatever reason, they love to get back here, and they think, oh, the hill already can't hit us. That's absolutely not true. You can move the gun over there if you know what you're doing. You could set the air burst, and you can absolutely turn this into a red mist corner. But it's pubs. I don't know that you're actually going to get that to happen. But you can hit everything on here as CSA already, if you know where to move the guns, if you practice it, and if you get your fuse times and elevations right. So that is that one. This is a map. I've played probably more of this map than probably almost any map in War of Rights. It is a fun one. It's a thinker. I've won and lost it plenty of times on both sides, and so it's not necessarily one-sided, but there are some intricacies to it.